How's it going, guys? And welcome back to BL3'S Forgotten, the series where I take a look at underused and not often talked about pieces of gear to determine whether or not they deserve to be remembered within the modern meta of the game or should be left behind and forgotten. And today we are taking a look at the Hellshock. If you'd like to farm the Hellshock for yourself, you're going to want to fast travel over to the Splinterland, specifically the Pit Stop fast travel station, and down and around into the area where the Homestead side quests take place, which is a questline that you will have to complete before you can farm the Hellshock. But in the back of the section, you'll hit a save station, which you will be resetting from. But from there, you run up and around this path full of stags, but you can pretty much ignore them until you come to a cave in which Vermilingua will come out and you can kill him and get yourself a Hellshock. The Hellshock is a legendary Maliwan pistol, being locked to incendiary and shock damage, which it can swap between, and having 2 projectiles per shot for the cost of 1. Along with that, though, the projectiles from the Hellshock will ricochet off surfaces, swapping its element on ricochet to whichever element you do not have currently selected. The Hellshock has had an incredibly large buff, not only going from 1 projectile to 2, but also gaining an overall weapon damage increase. Carrying on from the subject of that initial buff though, as many of you around at that time know, this buff was absolutely fucking massive, and around that time the Hellshock was the fucking plasma coil of that meta. It was an easy to get gun that just made the entire game fucking trivial, not only just outputting a shit ton of DPS with a very high base damage multiplied by 2 for 1 ammo per shot, but changing element on ricochet is a very strong effect, as you don't have to worry about any sort of element swap animation to get a hold of your secondary element. This means less overall downtime in element matching and more overall uptime in putting out damage into your enemy's face. Now I'm talking about this a lot in past tense, however a lot of this does still apply. The Hellshock is a very good gun, it has some solid utility in that ricochet, it's pretty easy to get, and it outputs insane amounts of damage. It is a lot weaker, which is very awkward to say because of how strong it still is, but it is a hell of a lot weaker than it used to be simply due to Mayhem scaling and how that affected the entire game when Mayhem 2.0 came out. But even then, during the time when barely anything was usable around the release of Mayhem 2.0 because the balance was just a mess, the Hellshock was one of the few guns from the base game that actually held up incredibly well. So trust me, I am by no means saying that this gun is at all weak. It is still incredibly strong, still one of the best pistols in the game. So if I'm giving it all this praise, and it was clearly a very meta gun for quite some time while still being very top tier, why is it a part of BL3'S Forgotten? Well, that's simply due to the fact that the Hellshock has been replaced twice! First, the Beacon released a full auto Maliwan pistol, not having locked elements, dealing splash damage, and having the bonus of a large Nova on its reload. The best variant is only 1 projectile per shot, however the damage is not that much lower than a Hellshock. And while it is lower, it actually ends up being higher because it fucking deals splash damage, which means that is more for it to actually be boosted off of. So from Hellshock to Beacon, it was just an upgrade. It was the same playstyle, the only thing that was missing was the ricochet, but I mean it wasn't that big of a loss when there was so much to gain by using the Beacon. And then Gearbox said, hey, that's not enough, wanna see us do it again? And decided that it was time to release the Free Radical. Another full auto Maliwan pistol, this one locked to shock damage though, however that's really not a big deal when the thing does 112,000 damage per shot. For reference, that is higher than a vast majority of legendary sniper rifles. But what's not listed on the card is that it's also actually a ×2, because on impact it summons an unlisted projectile, dealing all that damage again. This time without splash, but you're still getting a funny 224,000 fucking damage per shot out of a 1 cost per shot pistol. And that is why the Hellshock was forgotten. It was just replaced by a fucking hotter, younger, richer version of itself, and then it had it happen again. The Hellshock is a very interesting story, as it was one of the most broken guns in the game, still incredibly strong, which was outshined twice by 2 different guns functioning almost identically to it, with the main difference of both of them just ended up being better. Gearbox literally power-crept their power creep. I don't like talking about how a gun can be fixed, and I mean the Hellshock doesn't really need to be fixed. It is still incredibly strong, it's still incredibly usable across literally anything that you could possibly throw it at in this game. The only thing holding it from popularity is simply that the Beacon and the Free Radical exist. The only thing the Hellshock gets over them is that it's base game, so you don't need any sort of DLC for it. But that's about do it for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, definitely consider leaving a like, comment, subscribe, all of that. Down in the description will be a link to my Twitch channel where I'll be live right after this video goes up, and just under that is a link to my Discord server where you can come and join and hang out. But with that all being said, I hope to see you guys in the next one.